So I really want to encourage you to practice, because this is easy to learn, it's easy to forget, okay, unless you commit yourself to it, and sometimes you're going to need it. You're going to be like I was a few years ago. Actually, it was a couple years ago. I went up to Vail. I worked for myself. I needed a day off, right, playing hooky. And I found out when you get to Vail, and some of you may know this, the gondola is free after 4 p.m. Do you know that? Yeah. And I thought, wow, if it's free, it's for me, right? So I got in line, and it turns out families like free stuff too. There's screaming kids. I was like, oh, God, I don't want to ride up the gondola with all these screaming kids. There was one car at the front that looked like it had one guy in it. Like it was right at the front of the line, just about to take off. I ran up, I jumped in right as the doors slammed shut. I sat down, and I found out that there was really 2 passengers in the gondola. One was this hippie guy who'd taken full advantage of our new pot laws. Like, he was smoked up, right? And his big dog was also in there. Big dog. They used to let dogs in the gondola. So I got 8 minutes. I thought, okay, I'm going to make a little conversation. I sit down. Gondola takes off out of the station. And I said, what's your dog's name? He opened his eyes just barely. He's like there was smoke, like all around. And I said, what's your dog's name? Dude, it's not a dog. It's a wolf. But don't worry, he's trained. Had him about a week. His name's Romeo. And I thought, and then he drifts off into his pot-induced coma. And I think, wow, I know a thing or two about wolves. I've seen the Discovery Channel. And I know that wolves need to be behind a fence or with 10 square miles to roam, not in a tiny gondola with me, like way out of its element. So I start to get a little nervous, like I can feel that fear creeping in. And so the hippie is out like a light, but I think, okay, maybe if something gets intense, the hippie can, wake up and grab the wolf, by his collar. But then I look down and I go, wait, that's not a collar. That's a macrame necklace with a peace sign dangling from it. So I start to feel the fear, creep in a little more. And then I decide, okay, this gets a little more intense because Romeo stands up. Like Romeo stands up, looks at, and we're eye to eye. This thing is a huge animal. We're eye to eye with a wolf in a gondola, no way out, right? And so I start to have all these thoughts, like, okay, what's a wolf's body language? Like what should I try to pet him and risk losing my hand? And no, should I smile? Like, no, that's threatening. And then I start to think, okay, maybe I'll just freeze and he won't see me. And so that's what I try. And but then I feel him sniff up my leg. I feel him start to sniff, and he stops right at my hand. And I feel that hot breath. I open my eyes and I see those fangs like right there. And I realize at that point I may be in a little more trouble because I've cut myself on the way into the gondola, and I'm bleeding, like the scars right here, you can see it. And I don't know if he's had lunch yet, right? And so my mind starts to play tricks on me. I think, okay, if he rips off my leg, is he going to respond like a dog? Is it like, drop it, just, drop that? Or, how long does it take for an ambulance to get to the top of Vail Mountain anyway? Or am I going to be relegated to that 8-minute ride down for some help? Is anybody going to come to my funeral? And I don't know, what does God look like? Is it Morgan Freeman and George Burns? I don't know. And my mind is going crazy, and I'm just bracing for the worst. I'm feeling that hot breath, and I all of a sudden I feel this huge movement, and I open my eyes because I thought I was dead, but it turns out I wasn't. And that was the movement of us pulling into the gondola station up top. The doors swing open. The hippie regains his consciousness, and he grabs Romeo by the necklace. And this is just one of those times, when you wish you hadn't studied a little harder, right? When you wish you hadn't known a little more, right? Because how many of you have been in that gondola with that wolf, right? That meeting, right? And you really wished you knew what their intent was, Now, I came out of this pretty good. You've got some tools that's going to let you come out pretty good as well the next time you get in that pinch, right? Because, you know, the hippie, he took Romeo by the necklace and he let him out of the gondola. I'm just trying to recover. I'm like, oh my God. He took a ball and he threw it for Romeo to go chase. And before that wolf ran off to get it, he turned back around. He looked at me. And I swear, he winked. Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much.